Well, I'm Dr. Carrie Cutler. My role at CTL is the elementary math coordination for first and second and third and fourth grade. And the vision that I have for math for CTL is very hands-on, lots of materials, manipulatives like blocks and geoboards and all different kinds of methods for showing concepts, for building concepts, rather than just memorizing procedures or memorizing formulas. Instead, we want children to really build those ideas by moving their hands and using their brains to solve problems rather than just be presented with a set algorithm or a procedure to follow. I can see our students having investigations about mathematical ideas that interest them, patterns and relationships, looking at connections between concepts in mathematics like measurement and geometry, and seeing how shapes fit together and how shapes can form other shapes and how measurement may change depending on the type of unit that kids use. And all of the good concepts that they build in the elementary grades are really important because later they are going to be doing more and more abstraction with those ideas as they get older. They aren't going to see as many models, so they need to have the concept really strong in their minds so that when they just see an abstract problem, they're able to think back and understand, what is really the question that's being asked by the problem. And be able to apply what they learned in those early years, have that good, strong foundation.
Mm-hmm. And being a reading teacher myself and having more of that background with understanding how the reading workshop works and the writing workshop works, and then when I think of the need to assess my students and where they're at and continually see how they're doing, I in my mind, I know how that works. Meeting with the children in small group and those small groups being fluid and so forth. How does that work with math at these younger grade levels when there's so many manipulatives involved to teach concepts? And I'm assuming there's still math notebooks and
absolutely
things like that. If you could maybe explain that.
Yeah, they can have a math journal just like they have a journal in language arts. They can have a math portfolio section just like they have it in language arts. It shows growth over time. Mm-hmm. It's a house for them to keep their business in and a place for them to reflect on their growth and their ideas. The same way that you organize your reading groups, we can organize math groups. I imagine having a 20-minute lesson for everybody that's on the same level in math, so to speak, and then the children moving into small group instruction in centers or in maybe working with a group of 3 or 4 who are doing a similar task and another group doing a similar task of 3 or 4, and the teacher then working with a small group of 3 or 4 who are struggling with a similar concept or who need enrichment or who need the extra support, so that she has that somewhat one-on-one time in math, just like you have in reading. Mm-hmm. It can go the same kind of progression that you see in the reading classroom.
Mm-hmm. And I see, like for reading, writing, they get to a final point with their writing and they finally say, I'm done. And then we go back and look and assess what their final piece is, and we can really take a look at, these are some of the concepts you missed, but these you had done really well. There are times that assessment comes, or a final assessment of some kind comes in math. Is that how it would work?
And something that we can do in math, I think, in our school, it's maybe not done as much in traditional settings, is performance tasks. Mm-hmm. In math, you can have a really good, strong, rich problem that maybe involves lots of different math objectives, and then they work on the problem with their group, and then they step aside and they take an individual accountability opportunity and they write about what they did, or they make a similar problem, or they show what they thought, or they do something individual so that the teacher can see exactly who understood what in this experience. Mm-hmm. And that's a type of assessment I think we'll be able to do really easily with our format.
And you said you're going to oversee which grade levels?
First through fourth.
First through fourth.
Yes.
At the older grade levels, will there still be as many manipulatives and hands-on, or I imagine there's probably a lot of overlapping with the different things that you use in math to teach the concrete concepts. Or,
yes, yeah, and even the older grades can still use a lot of the same materials. I mean, we want to be frugal with our resources, so we're going to buy materials that are very open, that can be used in many ways, and that makes good sense for us economically, and also makes good sense for kids. They get familiar with the type of material, they know they can use it in a lot of different ways. If they come across a problem that they need to model, that they need to act something out, that they need to use materials for, they know right where to get them, and they're comfortable using them. I'm hoping that there can be a lot of integration between math and science, because we do share a lot of similar objectives as far as, learning about temperature and looking for patterns and looking at graphs and charts and tables and those kinds of things. But also because life is integrated. It's very seldom that you have a problem that's just a problem in one kind of small area of your life. It involves your family, or it involves your family and your work, and your family and your work and your neighborhood. And, things are really messy and have lots of different kinds of webs to them. And so I want the children to see that, we don't have to stop, language arts because now it's math time. Because look, there's so much language arts in our math that we're doing.
Especially if you're writing about and explaining the processes you're going through for the teacher to understand that you understand this concept in math.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they need to be writing across the curriculum.
Absolutely. Well, before we go, we did this a little backwards. I thought you might tell me a little bit about who you are as far as what you do right now.
Okay, great. Well, I teach part-time at the University of Houston in the math education department. I teach students who are in their last 2 semesters of college before they become teachers, and I teach them how to teach math. Mm-hmm. At the University of Houston downtown, I teach early childhood. I teach in the early part of the program there, students who are thinking that they want to be teachers, and I help them to learn about how to set up classrooms with schedules and routines and all of that good stuff, how to lay out centers, what's developmentally appropriate for children at different age levels, a little bit about child development. And for my major avocation, I am a mom. I have 7 kids.
Wow.
The youngest is 11 months. And the oldest is 16 years. So I would say my number one job is laundry.
I would say so. Laundry and dishes and just keeping things picked up so you can walk through the house,
That's right?
right?
Taxi services.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for talking, and I think I have a better vision for how math, especially in those grade levels, is going to work here. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.